Hey, welcome. So today we're going to talk about astrology, but probably not in the way you're used to. Forget the crystal balls and vague predictions. We're going to treat it like a practical tool for your own psychology. We'll show you how your personal birth chart can literally become a map for understanding who you are.
All right, so here's the game plan for today. We're going to cover science versus symbols, what your personal cosmic map is all about, and then the really fun part, how to actually cast your own chart. After that, we'll dive into decoding it as a psychological blueprint, connect it to some modern mind tools, and wrap up with a super important reminder: this map doesn't decide your destiny.
Okay, first things first, let's just clear the air, right? We've got to talk about the elephant in the room. What's the difference between the science of astronomy and this symbolic system we call astrology? It's a really important distinction to make right from the start.
You know, the Planetary Society puts it really well. These two are just not the same thing. Astronomy, that's the hard science. It's about physics, evidence, what's actually up there in the cosmos. But astrology, that's a whole different ballgame. It's an ancient system of symbols. For what we're doing today, it's absolutely crucial to think of it as a language, not a science. That's the key.
So here's something fascinating. You ever read one of those daily horoscopes and think, whoa, that's totally me? Well, there's a psychological reason for that, and it's called the Barnum effect. It's basically our brain's tendency to take really general, vague statements and see them as deeply personal. And yeah, research shows this is a huge reason those newspaper columns can feel so spot on. Knowing this helps us be way smarter about how we use astrology. We're not looking for vague generalities. We're looking for specific patterns.
But okay, despite all the critiques, this isn't just some fringe idea. Even a heavyweight psychologist like Carl Jung saw something really valuable in astrology. He wasn't trying to predict the future with it, not at all. For him, it was like a complete map of all the psychological knowledge from the ancient world. He saw it as a collection of archetypes, universal characters and patterns that live inside all of us. And that's exactly the lens we're going to be looking through today.
So now that we've set the stage, we can look at the birth chart in a new light. Seriously, stop thinking of it as some kind of prophecy that's set in stone. Instead, think of it as a personalized user manual for you. A guide to your own mind, your emotions, and your unique patterns.
All right, the best place to start with any chart is what everyone calls the big three. First, you've got your sun sign. That's your core identity, your ego, the person you shine as out in the world. Then there's the moon. This is your inner world, your emotional needs, your gut reactions. It's what you need to feel truly secure. And finally, the rising sign, or ascendant. Think of this as your social personality, the first impression you give off. It's the lens through which you see everything. These three together, they're the cornerstone of your entire psychological blueprint.
Okay, enough theory. Let's get into the practical, hands-on stuff. How do you actually get your hands on this personal map of yours? I promise, it's way easier than it sounds, and you don't have to pay a dime. There are some amazing free tools out there.
It really just boils down to a super simple 3-step process. First, you need to gather your info. This is key. You need your birthday, the city where you were born, and, this is the big one, your exact time of birth. I mean, down to the minute if you can find it. The more precise that time is, the more accurate and personalized your chart is going to be.
So, why does that 1 minute matter so much? Well, because it literally sets up the entire architecture of your chart. It's what determines your rising sign, that's your front door to the world, and it also divides the chart into 12 different houses. Think of these like different arenas of your life. One for career, one for relationships, one for family, and so on. If you don't have an accurate birth time, you're basically trying to solve a puzzle with a massive chunk of the picture missing.
The good news is, getting this chart is easier than ever. There are a ton of really reliable and totally free places to do it. If you want something super detailed, check out websites like astro.com or Cafe Astrology. They give you the whole shebang. If you'd rather have something on your phone that's a bit more simplified and focused on psychology, apps like Astromatrix or The Pattern are fantastic. Just remember the golden rule. These are tools to help you learn. They're not the final word on who you are.
Awesome. So hopefully by now you have your chart pulled up. Let's start to decode some of these weird symbols. And just to say it one more time, because it's so important, we're not looking for lottery numbers here. We're looking for psychological patterns, your default settings, your tendencies. I really love thinking of the chart as your personal psychological toolkit. You've got your sun, which is like the engine of the whole thing, your core identity and values. Then your moon, that's your emotional first aid kit. It tells you what you need when you're stressed. Your rising sign is your go-to social strategy. Then there's Mars.
That's all about your drive, your ambition, how you get angry, and how you protect yourself. And those houses we talked about, they're just the different settings or life areas where you use all these tools. Okay, let's really nail down the difference between the sun and the moon, because this is huge. Think of your sun sign as the hero of your life story. It's the person you're consciously trying to be. It's your potential. Your moon sign, though, that's your inner world. It's what you need deep down to feel safe and cared for. It's your automatic, instinctual reaction to things before you've had a chance to think about it. All right, this is where it gets really, really cool. Let's take these ancient symbols and connect them to things we know from modern psychology. This is how we transform the chart from just an interesting curiosity into a genuinely powerful tool for managing your emotions and actually growing as a person. So you might be wondering, can a bunch of old symbols really help me rewire my brain? And that's a totally fair question. The answer is yes, but it's not because of some cosmic magic. It's pure psychology. The power here is how these symbols can act as a support system for well-established ideas like neuroplasticity. That's our brain's incredible ability to change itself, and proven techniques like cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT. Let me break down how this actually works. Astrology basically gives you a vocabulary, a set of labels for your inner patterns. Let's say you look at where Mars is in your chart, and it gives you a name for your specific style of anger. Suddenly, instead of just feeling angry, you can say, oh, there's my quick to ignite Mars thing happening. Just naming it like that creates a little bit of space between you and the feeling. You can observe it instead of being swept away by it. And that moment of awareness, that's everything. It's the starting point for any real change. This is a perfect example of a core technique in CBT called cognitive restructuring. It's so simple, but so powerful. You see the pattern in your chart, say that fiery Mars. You notice the automatic thought that comes with it, like, ugh, I'm just an angry person. Then you actively, consciously choose to reframe it. You say, okay, my Mars gives me a lot of energy that can come out as anger. How can I use that energy for motivation? And how can I practice hitting the pause button before I react? See the difference? You're no longer a victim of your wiring, you're learning how to drive it. And that brings us to the final section. And honestly, this is the most important takeaway of this whole thing. Let's talk about your own power, your own responsibility, and your freedom to choose. If you take away only one thing, let it be this. The chart is for insight, not instruction. It's a map of your inner landscape. It shows you where the mountains are, where the tricky rivers are, where the easy roads might be. But it never, ever tells you where to go. You are always the one in the driver's seat. You pick the route, you choose the destination. And really, that's what using astrology in a healthy, ethical way is all about. It should be a tool that empowers you, that gives you more self-awareness. It should never be about fatalism or feeling like you're stuck. The entire point is to understand your own programming better, because the more you understand it, the more freedom you have to choose how you want to live. Look, real change and real growth don't come from the planets doing something. They come from you doing something. So the real invitation here is to take these insights and pair them with action. Use what you've learned as a prompt for journaling. Talk about it with a therapist. Link it to your mindfulness practice. Use it to build better habits. The chart gives you the what, but you have to provide the now what. So there you have it. Your chart isn't a life sentence. It's a set of possibilities. It's a starting point for a deeper conversation with yourself. The map is in your hands now. The only question left is, where will you choose to explore? Thanks so much for tuning in. Happy exploring.